Once upon a time, I said this. The film that I am most excited for, even though Disney now owns 20th Century Fox. In the top #1 spot...
All of you are dangerous.
Then I said this. I actually thought that this movie wasn't going to happen. But then... So welcome back to Briggle, my name is Brittany, and today we are doing a review for the New Mutants, the long-awaited New Mutants. Spoilers, I'm too lazy to edit them out. You have been warned. I am lazy. This movie revolves predominantly around Dani Moonstar, a recently empowered mutant who lost all of her loved ones in a devastating event on her family's reserve. Now she finds herself living in a strange hospital with 4 others like her, and a doctor that tries to inspire them with mentions of a superior. Blue Hunt is a bit of an unknown actress to me, and I think that's really because I haven't seen the originals. And although she brought a really good innocence to the role of Dani Moonstar, I found it really hard for her to grab my attention when she's acting alongside some pretty recognizable faces. I mean, I'll be honest, I should have recognized Henry Zaga from 13 Reasons Why. Zaga? But he was just so underutilized. Charlie Heaton was a very interesting character as Cannonball, and I found that they used his powers in an interesting way. Now, I should point out that it was great, but it was also distracting, and this might be an individual thing because he was in that hospice for cannonballing through a working mine. And I just started to think of him as Sabrina's boyfriend. Look, it must just be the look and the mining shaft. Sabrina. Now, the strength of the acting really came from Maisie Williams and Anya Taylor-Joy, but unfortunately that's not really saying much. They all did really well with the dialogue that they were given, and they did have their own interesting quirks. But, and this includes Heaton, no one maintained a constant accent. And that's just it's just a big bugbear of mine. If you've seen the movie, you'll get that bug. But I really don't think the fault was with the actors. From the trailers, I saw an indie-inspired mental horror that could create a new edge in the superhero genre. What I got was a soft teen Disney movie with pops of scares. This really is the best way I can describe it, and I know it's not as bad as a teen Disney movie, but it's getting there. Which brings me back to my original hesitation of it being PG-13. And then I also looked into the work history of the director. In the end, I really do think it was the combination of these two things that just killed the movie. Because if you look into the director's history, the last film he directed was The Fault in Our Stars. And it is a good movie, but that style, and I think he has more films like it, don't fit horror. Now, just because I don't think the movie's been done well, that doesn't mean that I don't think there are some great elements in it. Magic's sword and the way that she fights between Limbo and the real world is just phenomenal. She's such a tragically twisted character with a hand puppet. I'm not getting a hand puppet. You can't help but be sucked in. I will say they really should have left her sword until the final fight. That would have really helped with some of the pacing issues to really kind of build towards something. Wolfsbane, who I was most exciting for, and although her accent was patchy, my goodness, Maisie Williams can throw a blood-curdling scream. In fact, she probably had the most heart-pounding scene as she sat in a church confessional and like the other door opened, but no one was there. Oh, it's just the simple horror tactics that just are beautiful. That isn't to say that Zaga didn't have his moment. He had an amazing nightmare scene in a swimming pool that was just creepy as, and it just made me wonder, why didn't they utilize him more? He literally spends half his time doing dishes and folding laundry. But I think my favorite part of this movie is just the really light nod to the comics, which I'll grab this one. They play a game of truth or dare. Well, truth, with a lie detector. So I was pretty happy with that. Unfortunately though, the pacing, the direction, and I really do think the limitation to PG-13 has left this movie reeling in the pit of Disney despair. This movie had amazing potential, and I think it would have flourished with an indie horror director. So it is a swing and a complete mess. had a lot of potential, but it just always fell short. And now it's your turn. If you've seen the movie, pop your thoughts in the comments down below. Were you as concerned about the inconsistencies with the accents? Are you gonna be like having nightmares because of the smiley men? And what character do you want to see taken across the X-Men mainstream movies? Look, I really love Wolfsbane in the comics, but I think Magic wins. I think she should get into the mainstream X-Men movies. With that said, thank you so much for watching. My name is Brittany and you have been watching Brick Girl. My dog just pulled over a pot plant.